You said, Dan, this Darnold to JSN connection is so effective. He's completing 10% more of his passes when targeting JSN. He's averaging 4 more yards per attempt. He has as many passing yards to him as all other receivers combined, and it is the only QB wide receiver combo in the league that is sitting right now at 400 yards. So what did the tape show you last night?
Yeah, this combination is absolutely fantastic. The third downs, am I getting up and doing the touch screen now? Okay. The third downs that basically end the football game are the story, and it's connection. So this is 3rd and 6. I love the play call, I love the execution. So 3rd and 6, RC knows this. This ball's getting snapped at about the 25. So this defensive back right here, he's going to be sitting at the sticks, meaning he's going to be sitting right around the 21-yard line, expecting that ball to come out. Here's Jackson Smith and Jigba. They often spray release and run these curl routes, right? So that corner's just going to be sitting there waiting for it. Watch as Jackson Smith and Jigba sprints off the ball, and then when he gets to that 6 yards, what's he do? He stops his feet, right? Like right now, he squats down, gives a little peek back to the quarterback, selling, here comes that curl route. I'm going right past that down and distance marker, and I want to get the conversion. No, it's a double move. Sam holds his eyes, and then the ball's thrown absolutely perfect down the sideline. Absolutely perfect by Sam Darnold. That's a 3rd and 6 conversion to basically salt the game. Now go to the game-winning throw, right? After that kick that goes out of bounds or missing the landing area, JSN's at the bottom of the screen. They cut his split. So why do they cut his split? They're trying to get a chunk. Cut split, he can go out, he can go in, or he can go all the way across the field. So we're creating a 3-way go for him, challenging to that defensive back. I love a couple things about this. JSN widens on the release. So right now, he's kind of telling that quarter, I'm creating space for myself. Sam holds his eyes just for a second to see that safety, and JSN's going to go vertical. But the decision has to get made. Like right now, you can see JSN peek that safety, like where are you, right? And he's trying to peek where this corner is in relation to him. If that corner's on his back hip, Sam's going to throw this ball up over the top or there. But because that corner's really on top of him, he should expect one throw, that back shoulder throw. Now the thing is, quarterback has to see it the same way as well. JSN peeks back, that ball's already out of Sam Darnold's hands, and then again, the ball placement, giving him the chance to stop and adjust with his body control, absolutely sensational. Field goal kicked by the Seahawks in a win on the road. I just think the connection between those two guys is so good right now, and if you're playing man coverage against JSN, Sam Darnold's going to go to him with the football.
And JSN is having a superstar league this season. And watching him, there's a couple things that jump out to me. One, his emergence is like a true 3-level threat. It's kind of crazy, guys, to think back to his rookie season. He was a first-round draft pick. Remember that. But he was mostly used in the slot on little hitches and screens. And now he is completely used on the perimeter, downfield, runs the entire route tree. And then the other thing, and Dan really alluded to this when he talked about the connection with Darnold, is just the faith that his quarterback has in him.
Yeah.
The Seahawks do a great job of helping JSN get open through their formations, the way they bunch him, stack him, etc. But on throws where he has less than 3 yards of separation, he leads all receivers in yards per route run. He's only behind Amon-Ra St. Brown in EPA, expected points added. And you saw it on the back shoulder. There was an out. Darnold just believes that even if it doesn't look open, he's going to get open. And that is something that feels completely sustainable over the course of the season. It's truly something special building there.
Yeah, it wasn't targeted at all in the first half. And again, there's so much to really like about this team. Mina alluded to JSN's journey, which is so interesting. But what about the defensive side of the ball?
I think the defense isn't going to get the credit it deserved last night or by the nation because of the way the game ended, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. making some plays late, Kyler Murray with an awesome comeback. But Kyler Murray was under duress the entire night. This front four has absolutely gotten after the quarterback, starting with Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams, and last night, Nwosu putting pressure on Kyler Murray. And when I look at this safety duo of Kobe Bryant and Julian Love, to me, they're the new Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. They're underrated. They're not talked about as much as some of the other bigger names, but they consistently make plays and they feed off of one another so well. And then Ernest Jones anchors everything in the middle of the field. When they get back Nick Emanwari, who's the rookie who was going to start at nickel, I'll be interested to see what Mike Macdonald does with him, because Mike Macdonald is showing me week in and week out, he's truly a defensive genius with the simulated pressure, the disguises, adding one and running fire zones, man-to-man zero on the back end. They're so creative because they're so talented.
Can I ask you a question on defense? So, it's one of my favorite offenses to watch on tape right now. I think they just they throw so much personnel grouping and motion and shift and motion and under center and shot. Is it fair to say that offensively they're in a group from a defensive perspective that is throwing as much at you as anybody? And then defensively, are they as physical as anybody in the league, all 11?
Yeah, they're absolutely physical. They run to the ball, they hunt. Here is what I say about Seattle offensively that makes them extremely difficult. Everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Right? From one formation, you can get run, you can get play action boot, you can get a shot. From so many different split alignments, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like you said, you can get the crosser, you get the deep post, you get the out, and you get basically what's a slot fade, right? With nobody outside of it because of the reduced split.
Correct.
And I say this all the time. Training camp is where they got better.
Yeah.
Facing Mike McDonald, facing Clint Kubiak, going against one another. That schematic sort of challenge makes you better when the season starts.
Yeah, good point.
Well, RC, you left camp and you texted the group chat, Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be a problem this year. I remember it against the Packers, we now know are awesome. Speaking of texting, Dan and I were going back and forth between the game because the Seahawks were leaning so hard into their 2 tight end sets. And if you're a Cardinals fan and you're watching, hey, why are the Seahawks tight ends constantly being defended by linebackers 20 yards down the field? It's because they were running out of 12 personnel. Cardinals were matching it with base. It's exactly what we've been talking about all season. I do want to say one thing about the offense, though, before we move on. I do not like the conservatism late in the game, and this has now been an issue for a couple of games with this offense and the play caller. I did not love them at midfield going run, run, run to set up the long field goal. Your passing attack is too good to turtle up that way, and they're going to lose against better teams if they don't.
Well, this is what you want, Mina, right? You want them to be winning, but then room for improvement. This feels like one of those teams that's just going to get better and better in a very, very tough division. By the way, they travel really well under McDonald. They never lose on the road. All right, to the AFC heavyweight fight this weekend. As the Ravens, they're traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Let's take a look at Baltimore's defense here, shall we? Actually, for all the criticism that they've engendered, this is pretty much like last year. A reminder, last year they were really slow out of the gate. They started 1-2, but they finished 12-5, won the AFC North, and they ended up allowing the fewest yards per
critical football moments, because we haven't seen that from them against Buffalo in week 1 or last week against Detroit, the 2 good teams they played.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know the phrase iron sharpens iron. The Ravens' run defense against the Chiefs' rushing attack is like cotton softens cotton or something. Like it's the opposite of that. Whoever fails in this matchup, we are going to feel so terrible about, like, if the Chiefs can't run on Baltimore, they can't run on anyone. If Baltimore can't stop the Chiefs, that's a problem. I'm interested in seeing from, Ryan, you mentioned Zach Orr. He made that brilliant midseason adjustment last year to fix the pass defense. I want to see if he has a card to play in the run defense. Matabike being out, it hurts them a lot structurally. Do they maybe play a safety a little bit closer to the box? Do they switch it up with the linebackers that they're starting? It feels like something has to change, and it feels incumbent upon the defensive coordinator to figure this out.
All right, so
I know iron sharpens iron is Proverbs 27:17. I don't know cotton sharpens cotton.
Wow, that's by the way, that's
Nina Kimes,
1-1. Love the Bible knowledge. That's really good. Can you give me some football knowledge?
Yeah, I tried.
How do they face? Listen, they have a terrible record there. Terrible one against Mahomes. How do they rectify that?
Well, I think if you're the Ravens defensively, there's 2 things that you're like, hey, we're going to stop this. One, stop the 2x2 RPO out of Kansas City. I would say that's probably the thing that they feel most comfortable running. And I would tell you that it's not overly exotic. You know, they're going to get into the shrunk splits and they're going to run sticks or outs or motion and run an out or stop. So it's not overly exotic. And I think the second, so this is their 2x2 RPOs. You know, they're like, RC, you know this. They're just going to try to get cut slits, they're going to motion, and if there's one safety in the field, Patrick's going to throw the football. And they're kind of mirroring it side to side. So Patrick sees that one safety, and if he likes the leverage up top, he'll throw it. If he likes the leverage down at the bottom. So I would be interesting to see, like, does Baltimore put some pressure on them, try to get outside and get hands-on? Or if there's 2 safeties, then you got to stop the run, because that's really all they've done. Obviously, you got to stop Patrick's legs. You know, easier said than done, so the discipline of the pass rush, but there's nothing right now that I sit there in Kansas City's offense and be like, whew, you don't stop this, you're going to get beat.
Although, wait, we got some good news in. Yes.
Xavier
In NFL Live. Yes, Xavier. Thank you. You're
welcome.
Help is on the way, Xavier. Why don't you take this?
I didn't know it was up there for real. My bad.
But this is good news, right?
No, this is excellent news, and I think it's excellent news because of Tyquan Thornton's emergence.
Yep.
Right? You know that you have another valuable threat at the receiver position. Now you add Xavier Worthy to that, and I want to see if they're going to utilize him in that role we saw develop down the stretch, where it wasn't all about taking the chunk shots. It was about putting the football in his hands early.
I love it. RC breaking news. Let's go.
It was excellent.
That's good.
I read social media when I'm driving in my car.
while you're passengering in your car. Okay. If you could start with Dart, over under 189.5 passing yards.
I'm going under, and a lot of this has to do with the competition. This Chargers defense is really good. In fact, the last 2 games against Vegas and Denver, they have held those quarterbacks to significantly under this total. It's a difficult spot for a rookie quarterback, so I'm going to go under. Doesn't mean he's going to play poorly. Passing touchdowns, 1.5. Herbert's averaging 2 per game, so I will go over here. I think he's really found something with Quentin Johnson as a red zone target. Also, Quentin Johnson's just been so much improved in general. But yeah, I think Herbert managed to throw at least a couple in this one. That said, I'm going to go with Murray and Hampton for my anytime touchdown. Speaking of people gaining momentum, I talked about Johnson. Hampton is coming off of his best start, of the season, and he did have a rushing touchdown last week. He is now the unquestioned bell cow back in this running back room in Los Angeles. So give me some continued improvement and give me Hampton scoring when he gets a chance.
Yeah, he has the most scrimmage yards by a rookie this season, Omari and Hampton. So we're looking at plus 496. So a $10 bet pays out $49.60. Mina, we're just trying to make people some money here. ESPN Bet Make Club is your gateway to exclusive rewards, weekly offers, and exciting monthly getaways. All unlocked when you link your ESPN and ESPN Bet accounts. Plus, receive a $10 bonus bet when you link your accounts today. Okay, time now to read and react. We're going to check in on some other quarterbacks facing tough defenses this week, and we're going to start in Dublin. Aaron Rodgers will have his hands full against that Vikings defense. This is a Vikings team that runs a lot of zone. In fact, the second highest rate in the NFL, more specifically, their ability to apply pressure in their zone. Aaron Rodgers has not fared well when pressured in his zone defense this season. He has been sacked more times than he's had completions. He's even intentionally thrown the ball away more. RC, I can't help but remember the last time he faced that Brian Flores defense when he was picked off 3 times and he was sacked 3 times. How do you see this matchup playing out?
About the same way it played out last time. Everything that the Vikings do defensively attacks the weaknesses of the Pittsburgh Steelers and takes away their strengths. They're going to take away the quick pass. They're going to attack this offensive line and put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. The only answer will be the ability to find a run game. Pittsburgh ain't got one of them either. This is going to be a very difficult matchup for the Steelers offense.
And you know it's bad when RC doesn't pick the Steelers as we show you our picks for the first time, and the gong. Unsurprising. We are all on the Vikings.
I'd rather be right than like.
I actually
what?
think our scores are probably a little closer than we actually truly feel.
I heard you have the same score, by the way, Dano, for every single
I pick
pick
every game
today.
the same score.
Yeah, and you
Oh,
only
the
have
Dan
one
special.
show today,
It's
so
back.
what gives? I mean, you could have, had a little imagination.
Only one show today.
I mean, you've been watching Ryder Cup all day.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish the announcer was better, but
Oh, that's the real Dan,
I'm
man.
joking.
That's another story.
He's all Hall of Famer.
Hey.
Gracious, them fighting words.
Can he punt for them, please?
How about another Dan, Daniel Jones? Yeah, no kidding. Ranks top 5 in play action, first downs, passing yards, yards per attempt. Rams have defended the second fewest play action plays this season with 17. The same number of first downs that Jones has all by his lonesome on play action. Oh my goodness. He hasn't turned the ball over. I mean, they've only punted one time this season. What's working for him?
They move the launch point all the time. It's rare when you watch this offense play in Indy right now where Daniel will throw a ball and the next pass attempt will be from that same location. And the way that they can do it with some of their run action, 2 tight ends on the field, which everybody knows that me and this show absolutely loves. They pull the backside tight end. They've got a front side tackle. This is one of those I call 7.5 man protections. Daniel's making that wide zone fake. Is he going to bootleg all the way out? Is he going to just set up behind that offset guard? So look at this pocket now. This is easy for a quarterback to operate with. And then there's that deep out route to Alec Pierce. Beautiful job of just confirming that protection. Relatively similar set, but now those tight ends are up top and you motion one in. Now we're going to get that action again. Last time Daniel Jones made this fake, he set up right behind that backside guard, right? This time they bluffed the defensive end with Tyler Warren, and it's that naked bootleg or keeper action. He's not setting up in the